Hey everybody, welcome to a special evening collision walk. And I'm just setting my outdoor walk, ready to go.
Let's go. Welcome to this beautiful end of day collision walk. We did this a few weeks ago and I loved it personally because I thought it was a great way. Sometimes doing a brisk walk to start your day is a great way to calibrate so you're ready to attack the day. But sometimes actually finishing a long day with just a peaceful, unwinding, relaxing walk, I think is just a beautiful way to let go of the emotions, of the pressures, of the work of anything that's come through in the day, and actually just stop and just take a deep breath, enjoy walking around, moving before going to sleep, trusting God for tomorrow. And I'm a huge fan of ending your day with a nice peaceful walk. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're not going to do any power walks. We're not even going to do a brisk pace. We're just actually going to enjoy a 20-minute unwinding walk. Enjoying, recalibrating, trusting God, talking about His faithfulness and His goodness as we come to the end of this Saturday. So Pastor Peter, did you have any thoughts you wanted to share as we collide our faith journey with our fitness?
Well, not just maybe faith journey, I was thinking about what I did today.
Yeah.
Beautiful, this is the end of the day, and literally in the Hebrew cycle of things, according to Genesis, there was, the evening, there was morning and evening, night and evening, how does it, evening and morning? Yeah. All confused, but anyway, sunset is the end of the day.
Yes.
And so we're coming to the end of this day as we are, and we're literally going into the night, which is the start of our new day.
Yeah.
But we didn't get a chance to talk about this. I was picking something up today and I pulled up outside of a shop, and when I was looking in, there was piles of old newspapers at the front door. Just so you had to sort of step around them a little bit to get in. I thought, what is this? It looks like a...
Classic decor?
Well, it looked like an old movie, you know, when they had old classic, and I think, what is... And so I tried to take a photo, and then I thought, I'm going to go in. And I actually went in. I think I sent you a video, so I don't know whether you got to see it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so it looks like is it a bookstore, an antique store, what is it? And then as I walked around, I realized I think it's a collection of antique or hard to get sort of things.
Yeah.
But it would have been, thinking Caitlin would have been shaking in there because there was stuff everywhere, piles on the ground. The books weren't properly in the bookshelves. They were sort of all just higgledy-piggledy. There was boxes and stuff.
Yeah, my sister Caitlin, if she walks into a shop or something and it looks chaotic, she does not, let's just say she doesn't enjoy it. We'll say it nicely. But when she walks into a shop and it looks chaotic, she does not enjoy it.
Excuse me. So I suddenly realised you'll get the sneeze on the... Excuse me, everybody. So I thought this is the opposite of what's a peaceful shop. It was cluttered floor to ceiling.
Yes.
And there was a section out the back, just stuff everywhere. And there was boxes of things. And over one side there was like little files and had all little, and I think it looked like little postcards, but they were all labelled, like not really neatly labelled.
Yeah.
Just little handwritten labels everywhere.
Oh.
And but I think they were like collector's items.
Yeah.
Like postcards, and there was files and books. It was just chaotic. But I'm guessing it was really good quality old stuff.
That sort of surprises me too, because you'd think if you went into a shop like that, you're most likely going in looking for something very specific. You're not just going in looking for a postcard. It would be, I'm looking for this postcard. So you'd think that's where you'd want to be the ultra organized.
Well, they sort of had
catalogued.
There were some things, but it was just in a mess. And he'd probably maybe the guy running it would know the corner.
Yeah, that's so true.
Or the pile. He says it'd be in there, down there, under that. So, for instance, I thought, well, looking at all the books, I just thought, secondhand books.
Yeah.
When I looked at them, they look older than just casual secondhand. They all looked like collectors ones.
That's cool.
And then I looked at them and I thought, these look like series and things like that. And I suddenly thought, well, Pastor Ricky used to collect the Biggles books from actual secondhand bookstores, and I thought maybe there'd be some there. And there was about 15 to 20 of the old Biggles books, and ones I'd never even seen the titles of.
Oh, that's amazing.
And but they they weren't cheap.
Yeah.
Um,
They were collector's
oh,
items.
they were like, oh, this is not like the bookshop down the road where,
Yeah.
a few dollars, that is, it was all second-hand stuff. This was actually collector's stuff, and they
Yes.
knew it. They knew that if you were looking for Biggles stuff, you were going to pay
Yes.
a pretty penny for it. But yeah, it was. I don't know. So I don't know whether you're watching this and going for a bit of walking. Would that store excite you, or make like Caitlin, like, oh, I can't handle the mess of it?
No.
I would have actually happily wandered around and looked into. I don't. The mess would have made it look like a treasure trove
Yes.
to me. I would have felt like I was discovering stuff.
Yeah, I think if I was just wandering through looking for something at my own leisure, I could find it quirky, and it could kind of add to the quaint appeal and the, I don't know what you'd call it, but the charm
Yeah.
of a collector's store. I think
Yeah,
if I was working there,
I felt like I was in like a movie set or
Yeah.
something like that. It was just,
we're on a treasure hunt. But if I was working there, or I was there, or I specifically needed to find something,
yeah.
then I don't think the charm would hold up.
Yeah,
I
it
think
would have
I'd
been
say, all
frustrating
right,
to
let's
think.
get this
It's
organised.
frustrating if I thought, I'm guessing it's here, but I can't find
Yes.
it. That would have been hard.
So if I actually was on a treasure hunt,
Yeah. Whereas if I was just looking to see what came up, the
Yeah.
other thing that took away the gloss of it is that it was antique sort of stuff, special stuff, collector's items, so it was not cheap.
yes,
So even if I found something,
yeah,
like I
it's not
found-
oh, I'm going to come home with this.
yeah, I could have come home with half a dozen books of Biggles easily. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we haven't seen that one. There was one Biggles the boy,
Oh,
and there
wow.
was stories of Biggles at school, and I never even heard of that. But it was all by W.E. Johns. It was the actual.
Yeah, the
they
original.
were originals, and
Did they ever make Biggles into a movie or a show?
I have seen a movie
Yeah.
many years ago, and it was a cheap second, like
Aw,
a TV.
That's a shame. 'Cause it's such a classic. Yeah, my
Yeah.
grandpa, Pastor Ricky, he loved all the Biggles books.
Yeah, I often think he would be a classic Netflix TV show.
Yeah.
Like so many
Be
great
great for
episodes
Biggles.
you could do, so many, and you could just even do it based on Biggles.
Yeah,
you
just
could
on the books.
You could just write.
Yeah, turn the books into screenplays.
Yeah, and
There you
especially
go.
like,
If someone from Netflix is ever watching this, that's our pitch to you.
yeah, and especially like I reckon a TV series where you could, in the First World War,
Yeah.
just pick that time. You could just build on some of the short stories that they had of the First World War, and then write their own.
Yeah.
Like they do a lot of TV shows, I'd say, based on the books by.
Yes. Yeah, especially books. I think are a great foundation for a TV show.
Yeah. So I was Anyway, yeah, it had Biggles. It was just a weird time travel movie, which didn't work for the Biggles at all. But
Grandpa wouldn't have liked that.
no, it was sort of a bit weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Biggles in Borneo,
Wow.
Biggles here, Biggles there. Got to be careful, Biggles. He was a little bit could get a bit racist and
Yeah. Yeah, I think some
bit out
things,
of- bit a
some
little
things they
bit-
would change if they were.
yeah, a little out of step of what I would
TV show.
expect. But in terms of honour and valour and
Yes.
bravery and boldness and doing the right thing when you're under pressure,
Yeah.
a great example. And and I don't.
With the other, because I was thinking about, I love how stories can be such a powerful way of learning things, and they're such a great way of teaching things. And I'm a huge believer in the power of storytelling. But I was thinking, Dad and I have been talking a lot recently because he's been going back and rereading all the Chronicles of Narnia books.
Yeah,
And I
very
was thinking
good.
they are just brilliant books at utilizing the power of a story, but to teach you so much about the Bible and to help people explore and see Bible and the Bible characters and not just the characters, but also principles of the Bible in a totally new way. And I think he's a brilliant storyteller for bringing the Bible to life in a story form.
You know what? When I read the I've just about read all 7 books just in the last couple of weeks, and I realised that beyond the Christian story and the values of Jesus and
Yeah.
and those like there's one great principle that comes through is when God tells you to do something, put it at the top of your attention and don't get distracted.
Is that in the silver chair?
Yeah, like in the
Yes, I
silver
love
chair
that.
where they got distracted from the instructions and then they got sidetracked, things like that. The silver chair, beautiful principles about the reality because like they were in the underworld and they couldn't see
Yes.
the overworld, and so the overworld didn't exist. And it's like, we're here, heaven, does heaven really exist even though you
Yeah.
can't see it? You know, beautiful principles like that. But also I realised some really good things about courage
Yeah.
and about doing the right thing even when you don't feel you can,
Yeah.
and showing politeness. And so the characters are not perfect, you know, like that. The kids will squabble, or the kids will get a little bit jealous, or the kids will get a little bit narky with each other.
Yeah.
And it shows character development, but it also shows that you know, one child was you know, tempted to steal an apple that could heal his mother.
Oh,
And
that's right, yeah.
but Aslan said, "You bring that apple to me," and he was tempted to take the apple for himself and then go back and give it to his mother. And he was like, and stealing, and it was just a little line like, you know, because this was, you know, like this was meant to be
Yeah. We're going to cut through to the right here, only
Yep.
because with at the streetlights as the sun set.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
getting a bit dark here. C.S. Lewis's day. This was set
Yeah.
like 30 or 40 years earlier, and he said, you know, the children today aren't as strong on things like, you know, don't steal or something like that. But what it was a reminder about older values, and if you're reading that as a child, you're like, oh, I want to be a child that's got good values.
Yeah, that's so true.
I want to do this, you know. And it was like, you know, they showed that they were brought up right because they politely said yes, even though It was like, oh, it was like just little lessons on manners and lessons
Yes.
on positive character, without being preachy. Just
Yeah.
really, you just came away sensing, I want to be better.
Yeah. That's so true.
So I thought, what a clever thing, using storytelling to sort of highlight people that were doing,
Just right things.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like them. They're being jerky,
Yeah.
and they're being good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Flip around here. Hi.
And so many times they were told to, I don't know whether they can hear us, but the lady we just passed was walking a dog and carrying a cat.
It's very sweet. So that's what you get on an evening walk that you don't get on a morning walk.
If we took our dog
Yeah, we
for a
did have
walk whilst carrying a cat,
we did have a
we wouldn't do much walking.
we did have a conversation about whether we could bring our dog Mickey on one of our collision walks. And there's been a few times we almost have, but then just at the last second we just think, I just don't know what kind of recording we'd get. But maybe before we come to the end of the 12-week journey,
Okay, yeah,
we'll have
everyone's,
to come on one walk.
yeah, okay, we'll take
If you
Mickey.
want to see Mickey on a walk,
All we do got to think of, if we met that lady with the dog on the lead and a cat in her arms.
what would have happened?
What
We
would-
have a thing with Mickey that we call, we saw it on the internet, and it's when dogs are on a walk and they see another dog or a human or something and they just start barking uncontrollably, and it's called air jail, which is basically when a dog is barking so much you can't control it, so you have to pick it up and then do the walk of shame back home with the dog
If
in
we
your
did
arms.
air jail, Mickey would have been up next to the cat.
We've had many walks when Mickey has ended up in air jail and he's barking over your shoulders. You've had to do the walk of shame home. And so we could just kind of see the collision walk ending that way. But I think it would make
Yeah.
a really interesting walk.
Yeah,
Hopefully bring you some joy while you're walking along with us on your treadmill or in your room or outside. So maybe we'll do that. We'll bring Mickey.
We'll try and pick a time when we think.
Hopefully
Everyone
a time
probably
when
say
there's not many other people walking.
everyone will say no. Pick a time when there's lots of dogs. I like the.
But back to
But
Narnia.
yeah, so I recommend if you've got children, nephews and nieces, others that you know, or just yourself, reading it and enjoying it. I like the fact that it champions values and
Yes.
and good character,
Yeah.
and doing the right thing. There's so many times that the children are pushed into a situation where they've got to step up and be brave or do something
Yes.
which will be heroic, but I don't feel very heroic.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, there's one time was one of the kids says, I think I'm going to be sick, you know, and the girl
Yeah.
goes, I know, I can hardly talk. And then they're like, but you know, should we run and go back? Should we just And he's like, you know what? I would rather be here in this situation than, you know, be at home doing nothing.
Yeah, I
You know,
like that.
and so like it was very much as like, yeah, hang on a sec. It might seem really hard, but the alternative is you're back
Yeah,
not knowing Aslan, not doing things, and they make that.
I like
They
that.
yeah, so a lot of
Yeah,
builds.
it's relatable no matter how old you are.
Yeah, and so it was a lot of really nice principles that I, you know,
And because I think
highly
courage is
recommend it.
one of those things that the world has messed up courage in a lot of ways, because it's gone either way. Courage is when people say, or courageous people are people who just have no fear. They do things. They don't feel nervous. They
Yeah.
don't feel out of their depth. You know, that's a courageous hero. And basically, they've painted an unattainable superhero who has some kind of superpower which enables them to never feel inadequate, never feel like anything could go wrong. And regular humans have just never even related to it. Or they've gone so far the other way where it's like, oh, courage is actually, you know what, you really are courageous even if you're crippled with fear. And it's like, you know, hey, there, no, don't worry, you are courageous. And actually sometimes the most courageous thing is not fighting. And even if you're running away from your enemy, you're still courageous. And it's like the enemy, you know, the world's warped it on both sides. But I think actually having a really powerful picture of courage is a supernatural thing that God can give you when it's you choose to continue taking steps towards Goliath,
Yeah.
even if you do feel inadequate, even if your legs might be trembling, but your faith in God is bigger than what you're walking towards. And your faith in God is bigger than your faith in yourself.
And that's what the books often show, that when they made the decision, well, we're just going to do what Aslan tells us, you know,
Yeah.
that there would come a sense of, well, okay, there's something, you know, it's not like as if it all disappears, but
Yeah.
it's like there's a strength, there's an encouragement to do it. It really is. And there's parts too where, if you don't know the stories, one of the children in the first book is a trader, and it's Aslan actually dies in place of the trader's spot
Yes.
to, you know, the story of redemption. And later on, he becomes a really good. He's a jerky child to start with. Is
Yeah.
that a cat there?
I think it's a fake cat, but
It
doesn't
looks like it doesn't realize the eyes were reflecting, but I think it's just fake. He was jerky, then he got rescued and he got forgiven, and so in the other books he becomes, you know, sort of good. He's on the other side of it. But there's a kind when, you know, there's someone is doing the wrong thing, and Edmund, this child, says, you know, he's always shows grace. He said, I know what it's like to be forgiven as a traitor, or I know what it's like, you know, even any, just without saying much, he shows mercy
Yeah.
because he knows.
He's been there.
Yeah, you know, he said, you know, he's not pointing the finger at someone who's perfect.
Yeah.
He's living this life through the lens of someone who's been forgiven.
Yeah.
And so beautiful little stories of grace and mercy and forgiveness, sort of working through with that. And I find C.S. Lewis does a masterful job of not being preachy.
Yes. They're stories.
They're really well written
Yeah.
stories, and get you on the side of doing the right thing is the right thing.
Yeah. And I feel like it's such a power, you know, and when you said before, if you've got kids or nephews or nieces or brothers and sisters, I think it is a powerful thing when you realize the power of these stories, that the opportunity you have, especially for young people who will be looking for stories, they'll be looking for books to read or movies to watch, they'll be wanting to create their fictional heroes. And it's a great reminder that you giving them a story or a set of books like the Chronicles of Narnia, letting them enjoy really well written, brilliantly told stories, but stories that are going to be bringing these values to the forefront, and these are the heroes of these stories. It's a great opportunity to say it's an alternative to what the world will be trying to, you know, when you see some of the stories that the world is putting forth, especially for young people at the moment, it's just filled with wicked things of all kind of designs. And you think, well, these are the powerful tools that we've got in the body of Christ that you can present as an alternative to say, hey, you know, there might be older stories, but these are very well written, brilliant stories, and these are the heroes. These are the characteristics that we explore and they're ones that are going to help them grow closer to God through it. And it's such a powerful tool that we've been given.
Yeah, I would also recommend another series, not nearly as well known as the Chronicles of Narnia, but called the Chronicles of Anthropos.
Is it the Archives?
Archives.
Yeah,
Archives of Anthropos. Yeah, I think so, rather than Chronicles, because that's a little bit too similar.
That's the only way I remember it.
Yeah,
I knew one was Chronicles, one was Archives.
Yeah, Archives of Anthropos. Anthropos mean man, and there was a fictional place called Anthropos. So this one, this series was a little even more focused on getting biblical truths through.
Yeah. It's written for a slightly older.
Yeah, a little bit older,
age.
a little bit longer stories.
Yeah.
But really well crafted and great lessons about Bible truths done in a storytelling. And again, stories of courage, stories of forgiveness, stories of also very powerful, which it's probably modern, stories of the difference between the world's method of trying to do things through power and magic and trusting in God, making a comparison between God's ways and the world's ways, and so by John White, an exceptional good author, has done a lot of other stuff. I think my understanding of how these books came about was his kids wanted something, so he sat down and just wrote a story. He wrote a chapter about four children that went into an attic. So there's a little bit of crossover sort of with the Narnia books. Yeah, and they went into an attic and they went through 4 televisions. They went through these televisions into this other world.
Yeah.
And so he wrote this really funny story, interesting chapter about they found these televisions and one of them went into the television and what happened. So he gave it to his kids and read it out, and they said, "That's great." But they were like, they didn't actually say that's great. They just said, "Well,
what happens next?"
Yeah, what happens next? And he goes, "Well, I wasn't right. I was just writing a short story, like a quirky little story." And they're like, "No, you've got us hooked. We want to know what happens to the child in the TV. What about the other kids? What about the other TVs?" And so he said, "I actually hadn't planned
I don't know what happens to
Yeah, like they showed one with a woman and showed one with a man in chains and one with." He's like, "Well, I didn't actually have them any connected. I just said, oh."
I love how it's like every storytelling, rule is like you start with the end, you work back. So it's okay, you create your Chekhov's guns in the first page based on how it's going to end. Sometimes it's written the other way. It's like, well, I've got these 4 pictures. How am I going to use them?
Yeah, now I've got now.
Okay, what story will I create with what I've given myself?
And it turned into a series of books. I think 6 or 7 books based on those. But great lessons and lessons. I know I read them as probably in my 20s.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have been written when I was a child. So I just discovered them when I was in my 20s and read them as they were coming out. And they actually really impacted me in terms of lessons on faith and obedience and about when I talk about the power of temptation and the enemy will promise you a ring and chop off your arm. I think some of those concepts were built through these stories when you recognise how the enemy would use deception and get people to, because sort of in the stories you're like, don't do it, don't do it. It all looks like it's going to be good, but it's not because of where it's coming from, and you just do it, and that sort of those sort of concepts which really good biblical truths, but really well shared. So I appreciate these authors that have done things like that.
Yeah, created these resources and these tools. And I think there's so much of what people before us have presented us with. They've created things which we can then use as resources to grow closer to God. But you have to actively sort of look for them and embrace them and say, okay, well, how can I use this to learn more about you, discover more about you? And that's why I like doing something like this, like a different style of walk, ending the day.
It's more of a chat today, wasn't it?
Yeah, a chat, more than just teaching. But I feel like it's a nice way to finish the day. So still keeping our focus on God, but just also showing how God can just be a part of every aspect of life, and just a natural part of conversation is that God wants to be involved in every area of your life, your interests, what you're reading, what you're watching. He wants to be involved in it all. So that's his desire. Well, under this perfect streetlight, do we want to say goodbye until we do another collision walk in a few
Yeah,
days?
we walked, I think, a little bit longer we planned because it was just such a nice,
Yeah,
nice
it's
evening,
beautiful.
nice and clear night. Thank you everyone for joining us on this collision walk.
And we'll see you in a few days. Bye. Maybe with Mickey. Maybe.